how can I put more value out in the world that is also going to connect with somebody and help them feel seen, feel heard, feel valued? I think that is something that we definitely need to have in our business, especially in our industry. Whether we are a service-based industries, people will not buy unless they feel safe and trusting.
September has been all about clarity and completion, and it is not without the work that the universe is asking you to do. But it's not just about your inner perspective of self. This clarity and completion is also coming in really big and really strong in relation to your business. And today on the Psychic Within Live podcast, we are going to talk about the new business paradigm. What's ending, what's emerging, and what shifts are you going to need to know about and the action steps that you're going to take in order for you to stay up to date and stay current with what's coming in the business world. Whether you like it or not, it's the energy that is coming about. And today I have two amazing guests with me who are going to join me in this conversation. And that's what this is going to be, a conversation where we are going to share with you from our expertise as to what we see happening and shifting in the business world. So, ladies, I want to thank you very much for joining me. And I'd love for you guys to just do a quick introduction in your own words of who you are and why you're here. And Chris, we will start with you. Chris Williams, who's an amazing business coach. So I'd love for you to introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Chris Williams. I am a business coach for coaches and holistic practitioners. I'm also an author of our best-selling book, The Soulful Abundance System. We actually just hit #1 in Women in Business. Super excited. Also in entrepreneurship. And I really love to help women build and grow businesses that feel aligned with the way that they want to build and grow their business. So we'll definitely get into some of the outdated tactics that no longer work anymore. I have been in the wellness industry for well over 30 years, definitely gone through multiple reinventions, and just really excited to share anything that's going to be helpful today.
Amazing. Thank you.
Yeah.
And Melissa, you want to share a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. So, my name is Melissa, and I truly believe that your wildest, most outrageous dreams, they're not too much, but it's exactly what your soul wrote in for this lifetime. I help people to make the leap from an unfulfilling job or relationship into their calling or what they'd ideally love to be doing. And I help them to clear the abundance blocks as well as like the deep subconscious fears that are sort of in the way to make that transition easy, profitable, and without compromising your income and security. Really excited to join this. I've been going through a huge rebirth in my business as well. So I think that this is going to be a very important conversation and just happy to be of service today.
I love that. Thank you, ladies, so much. And Melissa, I love what you said about going through like this rebirth in your own business. I agree. I work with a lot of people in business and I have multiple businesses myself. And the energy that we're in right now is forcing a change in the way that we show up in our business, how we're running our businesses. And for me, one of the things that I see that is very apparent and in our face is that our businesses, it's not us working for our businesses, but it's really designing our businesses to work for ourselves, work for us and what we need with really specific characteristics inside of those. So I'd love for you guys to share, either one of you can start. What do you feel, what do you see is not working with inside the business world? And why do you feel like it's not working? What do you feel is ending in that business world?
I'd love to jump in for this. I've noticed a huge trend, myself included, and I do have to catch myself on this from time to time. Anywhere we are going down a path where we're parroting or mimicking other people's strategies, their plan, what works for them, or even like their language and messaging, we're not tapping into our soul's blueprint and we're not leaving that legacy that we're here to write. And I know that for me right now, I've noticed that I want to call it like a karmic whiplash or the cosmic 2x4. It's strong and it's fast, right? So it will course correct you when you're going down the wrong path to shine a light on where you need to be more authentic than ever, but also true to breaking the rules and almost reinventing the industry to work for you, to work for your family, to work for your neurodiversity, or for whatever, unique traits that make you you. We are here to rebuild these crumbling systems from the inside out, and that doesn't come by kind of copying and duplicating everything that hasn't been working or the road that's been laid out in the past.
Yeah, I love that, and I totally agree with you. And it's one of those things that I have seen ending drastically and quickly. And I think the people who promote like, hey, steal my swipe files or swipe my emails, do exactly what I do, that they're going to have to find a different way of doing business because my voice isn't going to work for any of my clients or anybody else out there. Your voice isn't going to work for anybody else out there. And the more that we can get people to use their own voice, the more powerful they're going to be.
Absolutely. It's yeah, it makes me cringe and it's easy, right? Because we want to support people. We know when something has worked for us, we teach what has, created our success so people are eager to learn it, but we also have to remind ourselves that no two paths are alike and it's really it's more clear than ever that we need to like own our uniqueness and also explore our human design, our birth charts, like what makes us the person here that's, guided to leave a legacy and it's really not from cookie cutter stuff anymore.
Yeah, absolutely love it. Chris, you want to jump in here?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things that we see, especially with the birth of AI, is that people are starting to sound very, very similar because AI can only pull from what's already out there.
Yep.
And so the coaches, the practitioners, the leaders that we know are going to see in the industry are going to be doing some very, very specific things that are different than what they've even done in the past. So one of the things that I see happening in my business as well as in my colleagues is that trust is at an all-time low with AI coming on board where people are not even sure like are they even looking at a real person, right? Whose words am I actually reading here? And so creating those relationships and building not just value but actually trust and safety with your communities, with your people is critical. We're not in that age anymore where it's just like, hey, click the link, buy my thing. People have bought the thing in the past and they've been burned or they haven't gotten the result or, they've invested in all these different ways. And so people really want access. They want to be able to have connection with you. They want to be valued, in your world, in their world. And they want to know that you are also a human, right? So sharing some of our vulnerability, sharing some of our transparencies, being really clear of this is working or this is not working anymore, instead of, depending on outdated tactics from 2015 that don't work anymore. So, I think that, the people that we see that are doing amazing are really creating those human connections, being human. I know the word authentic gets thrown out there a lot, but it really is, creating those relationships with people, connecting with people, helping them to create wins way before, they're asking somebody to buy.
Yeah,
That's
and
that's just saying that was a really good point. I got the tingles and the goosebumps all the way.
yeah,
Mhm.
one of the things, and I love that you brought up AI because I feel like we've had a lot of conversations on it. I have absolutely shared, where I stand and what I also see with AI and what to be aware of. So I have a question kind of for both of you.
Mhm.
Is there is a lot of energy towards AI and automation. And I agree with you, Chris, in that aspect of, part of our soul's journey is to create communities. Okay.
Mhm.
But I'm a realist about businesses and
Mhm.
I'm a realist about what actually makes a business work and continues to allow a business to grow. And it's not always people and everybody having access to you or you doing all the work.
Mhm.
So, my question is with the popularity of AI and with all that excitement about AI as well as automation, what do you feel or how do you feel this is going to unfold to still have that community aspect, but
Mhm.
allow people to truly expand because AI and automation were created for a reason to
Mhm.
kind of take the weight and the workload off and all those things. So, what do you see is
Mhm.
truly important with these new
Mhm.
aspects that are brought in, as well as that community feel?
Yeah, yeah, I would love to speak into this. So I think there's a difference between, and when I say access, also, there's multiple ways that we can have access, right? Like people have access to you and to us right now, right? So that doesn't mean that we're giving them like actual like one-on-one time, but actually being able to see you, feel you, have an experience of you, feel your energy. Like when I think about access, that's kind of what I think about. And whether somebody does that in a free offer or a paid offer or a high ticket offer, there's multiple levels of that. But with the AI piece, I like to use AI for ideas. but it's really important that the ideas are communicated in a way that still feel me, right? So I could say, hey, give me some ideas on ABCDEFG, or give me some ideas of a chapter in the new book that I'm reading, or help me identify where people are most getting stuck. But AI is not always right. A lot of times they will, I'll read that and I'm like, no, that's not right at all. Like that, like,
Yeah.
that's not even true. I mean, sometimes it even pulls studies that are just made up. So we have to use it, yes, in a way that is going to help us. There's absolutely ways that we can automate emails, and yeah, the things that we can delegate, we want to delegate. The pieces that make us human and interact with people, we want to be able to do that too. But we also need to discern, the how to actually use it, because not everybody uses it or knows how to use it in a way that is going to be the most impactful or beneficial, right? Just saying, create an email for me, and then copying, pasting that email, is not necessarily going to be, the best thing for you or for your voice or for your energy, because it might not actually be conveying exactly who you are, what you are, how you feel, things like that. So I really like using it for ideas, but I always edit. I always make sure that it feels it is and aligned with my values, aligned with my voice, aligned with what I'm actually teaching, aligned with what I'm actually seeing. But yeah, it can absolutely give you some great ideas, and it can certainly help you organize things and come up with ideas quicker, and to help you do things in your business that you typically would have to outsource or delegate previously.
Yeah,
Mm.
I love that.
Mhm.
Melissa, do you want to share on this?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm actually in new territory for the first time. I cleared out a massive cycle of expansion without preparation this August. So part of this rebirth requires me to set up the back end, the systems, the structure, the strategy, and sort of more of those like masculine components to hold my feminine creativity in a way that allows me to not always be on, and also in a way that serves my clients the best, because I'm creating intentional client journeys from entry point to low ticket offers to something more upscale for people who want to go deeper, so that there's nothing left up to guesswork. So right now I'm harnessing the power of systems engineers to help me build those automations. And I think that this is actually something that I'm really valuing, because we are planning to expand our family. So I need to make sure that my business is primed to be able to be a well-oiled machine, so that I don't always have to be on. And I actually recently just had to let go of an identity, which was the intuitive business owner who's constantly like tapping into my business. Okay, what should we do now? What should we do now? Rather than having a
Mhm.
plan of action. So I'm a big advocate for that in terms of systems, automations, and all of those things that make a client's journey so intentional, so that I can be of the best service, and so that I can meet people exactly where they're at, no matter if they're at the entry stage or they like go super deep all in stage. For AI, I mean, it's here to stay. I'm a big believer that it can save us time. What I've noticed is actually, 80% of my impact revenue client success stories comes from me showing up live in circle, going live, helping people with breakthroughs. It's
Mhm.
not coming from hiding behind an optimized funnel. It's not coming from this optimized post. And
Yeah.
I've never actually seen any of my like AI, inspired or written content perform better than organic content. So in
Mhm.
those ways, I've actually had to learn to steer off of it, and again, use it as inspiration, or like take the concept and then write it in a way that conveys my tones.
Mhm.
Because people can't hook into that machine like thing. One of the other things I just recently started implementing is a master prompt. So a master prompt, and ChatGPT can help you do that, is it gives you the context of everything about you, your gifts, your business, your ideal clients, etc., so that anytime you go to create a new action item, it gets a lot of, like context, right? So that helps it sound more like you and specific to your goals. So I would recommend, if you don't have one, to really ask it to ask you any questions about your life, your goals, and business, and then to create that master prompt, save it in a PDF, so that any projects can have that sort of foundation for it.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, and I like that. And I think part of the reason, so one of the things that I've seen, I'm always looking into the future to look at what's coming so people understand that. One of
Mhm.
the things that I've seen is everybody's throat chakras are being activated. It's
Mhm.
primarily the energy that we are focused on, global expansion wise, is the throat chakra. And part of that is because as people are stepping into their purpose, as they're looking into what they're here to lead and leave and what their legacy is, their throat chakras are being activated, and every single individual has a personalized message that their soul is meant to leave here. That has to be brought into their business. And so if you're using AI, that personalized message is lost, not because the words are necessarily lost, but because the energetics are. Because the throat chakra holds a vibration and an energy. And if we are putting that into a computer system, it doesn't come through in the computer system. I know this because my clients will give me stuff and I'm like, you wrote this with AI. And they're like, ugh. So it's super important. And it's one of the things that I see is going to set people apart is the more that they can activate their own conscious understanding and the messages that their soul actively came here to deliver through opening up that throat chakra, through tapping into their soul's experience and their soul's purpose, and that message that their soul has, their messaging is going to be so much more powerful. So this idea for AI, or even this idea of marketers, they're like, hey, I have 4 scripts that I use to write posts with, or I have, here's the magical hooks. As long as we're channeling and as long as we are tapped into that throat chakra, that message is going to be more powerful than any AI can create or any like known messaging can create. And that's going to be something that we're going to see people be more aligned with and more drawn in over and over and over and over again because of that activation as a global unit of the throat chakra. So something you can do is work on your throat chakra. That's really going to help you. So I have a question for both of you guys. One of the things that I believe in is that the future is psychic, and this includes business. I 100% subscribe and have seen that if you do not open and access your psychic abilities in your business and use them in your business, you are going to fall behind. For cases just like somebody using AI, somebody pretending to be something they're not and selling programs, somebody selling a program that they copied from somebody else, from all of the people that are showing up in your life and everybody learning how to talk and how to tell a great story, but not actually maybe being able to deliver the results. Those are just some examples as to why your psychic abilities are going to be so important, as well as a whole slew of other things like the energetics of things just aren't what they say they are. What used to be, the trends are not going to continue to trend. What might have worked before is not going to continue to work. So your psychic abilities I believe, are the number one tool that you absolutely have to access in your business in order for it to reach ultimate success level. I would love to know if either of you have that one thing that you're like, this is a must in business in the future. Every single person has to have it.
Yeah, for sure. I'd love to share. So recently I had a little experiment with myself this March to May. I found out a way to 5x my revenue using muscle testing and tapping into the timelines before putting offers out there. So for people who are looking to grow their business, they're familiar with either muscle testing or their intuitive yes, no. What I was doing is I was actually comparing coaching offers. Okay, I have this idea. I have offer B. Which one is going to create the biggest impact? Okay, this one. Which one is going to be able to support my family the best? Okay, this one. Do I need to bring anything from offer B over to offer A to make it 10 out of 10 impactful and like life-changing for people? And then also tapping into, okay, what kind of investment would somebody need to make financially and energetically to get the highest level of transformation out? So I was kind of using muscle testing, pendulum, and just honestly the timeline reading to like put together the perfect offer before building out the landing page, before putting the offer out, before building the whole thing out, to actually get it to like 10 out of 10 impactful, and then also 10 out of 10 profitable, because we all have families, we all have a desired lifestyle, and we should be compensated for that. So I would strongly recommend like feeling into those timelines and doing those muscle testing things to stack your ingredients together in a way that helps support the world the best, and then also gives you the perfect outcome.
Amazing. Cool. It's kind of like it's a lower version of psychic abilities. It's for people when they
Entry level, yeah, very much so. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Chris, how about for you?
Yeah. So is your question in regards to psychic abilities?
No, just
Oh,
anything in
okay.
general. What you feel is like
Yeah.
something everybody must have in business. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely believe that there is a middle piece that people are missing, that when we get this dialed in, that it is a game changer, because I've seen it work for me, for my clients. And that is, a lot of people are focused on just marketing or how to get a sale, but they're missing the middle human piece. They're missing the piece of, can I just be a real person and help somebody like get a win? Coming from this place of how could I serve today versus how do I get the client today? Very, very different energies from as you know, from an energetic standpoint. If I'm in the scarcity mode of, oh my God, I got to get a client today. What do I have to say to get them to say yes? What do I say to get them to, overcome an objection or whatever, versus who do I get to serve today? How can I put more value out in the world that is also going to connect with somebody and help them feel seen, feel heard, feel valued? I think that is something that we definitely need to have in our business. It's especially in our industry, whether we are a service-based industries, people will not buy unless they feel safe and trusting.
Yeah.
There has to be the way that we create that.
Yeah, and with that service-based focus, do you also believe that it's super important, like paramount, for people to also be doing their energy work?
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. I mean, you mean the client or the person or the coach? I think both need to be doing it. I mean,
One
energy.
Yeah, I was speaking more for like the business owner as they align with service and
Mhm.
be showing up for service in order
Yeah.
'cause, one of the things that you said is that, not your exact words, but one of the things that you said is that being really aligned. So instead of just focusing on marketing and focusing on showing up and saying the right words, they should be focusing on serving
Mhm.
but I think what also is a super important aspect is having that energetics
Mhm.
aligned with, hey, I actually want to serve you. I'm not just putting in the motion. I'm not just, like putting in the work of burning myself out serving somebody. I'm
Yeah.
actually truly aligned with what it means to show up and serve. And you can feel it with inside my energy.
Yeah, absolutely, 1000%. You can totally tell when somebody's just trying to sell you on something versus somebody is really trying to help you, to create a win. And I do think that's energetics. What energy are you in when you're having conversations with people? What energy are you in when you are even like when I wake up in the morning, I ask myself, who do I get to serve today? Like, I have no idea who's going to be coming in, but I know that somebody is going to be coming in, and I can either look at it from, how do I close the deal, or who do I get to serve? Because I know that at some point when I am connecting with somebody on a real human level, they are going to either continue to stay in my world, or maybe it's even a client. So the lifetime value of your client increases because they feel connected, or they feel that you really care about them. And that is an energy that people feel from people,
Mm.
not from machines. Right. So I totally agree with what you were saying earlier about that energetic piece of, the throat chakra, and the energy that's coming from the throat chakra. It can't be replicated from a machine.
Right.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd love to add on to that too, if I may. So one of the things that I think anyone can ask on a daily basis, right? So since we're on these pretty steep, like ascension, self-healing timelines, constantly doing the inner work, constantly, doing the energetic hygiene and letting go of those old paradigms, is what am I now ready, like, to refract out to the collective? What have I healed within myself or reconciled within myself that I'm ready to refract to the population or to the world? In terms of either activating people's potential or showing them what is possible in their own expansion. And for those people with those psychic abilities, you can tap into the collective akashic records of, say, your country, right, or your neighborhood, or even the globe, if that's where you're called to serve, and just read into the upcoming timelines that humanity is going through as a group, right? So we can kind of anticipate certain themes, like maybe the recession, right, certain economic changes, and put stuff out there that in advance that is specifically guided to help people stay ahead of the curve. I had an experience similar where I was putting out an abundance and money wounds healing session. And this was specifically with that, anticipation of different economic changes, right? How can we kind of ride the wave and become not just pillars of light, but resources for the community, people who are resourced enough to be like the calm within the storm and to have excess and overflow, right, to share for people, so that we're not constantly backtracking, but we can actually anticipate things ahead of time. That's the one thing that AI will be able to help you with, is
Mm.
preparation rather than like reactive planning.
Yeah,
Mm.
and totally agree with this. And I think more and more businesses, this is what I do with my own business. I've done it for the past 9 years, as well as what I teach my clients to do. It's why I do the yearly reading. I tell you exactly what every person on this planet is going to be experiencing and going through based on energetics, not based on a moon or an eclipse or where the planets are. I don't do astrology, but it's based on the energetics. I've done this for the past 9 years. They are so spot on. And I always tell my clients, if you follow the energy reading that I gave you at the beginning of the year, 2 months before the year start, you will always have exactly what your audience needs, exactly what they need. And you can start producing something that's unique and that people actually want to purchase. It's so powerful. It's so fun. So I love that you mentioned that. Now, you mentioned twice, Melissa, and this is for you too as well, Chris, but you mentioned twice that about a recession. So for one, I don't agree that we're going into a recession, even looking at the energetics. I spoke about it in my last podcast, my last episode about the shift in economics. And there is a huge shift in economics that is happening and unfolding. And one of the things that I have seen for the past probably about 2 or 3 years, and it's picking up momentum. And I think 3 of my clients yesterday alone mentioned it and made the statement. And we're talking 7 and 8 figure clients that I have. They have said, we have to stop freaking focusing on the money and start focusing on what we're actually giving to people, because so many people in the coaching industry, as well as in any industry, they're just both in the coaching industry. They're so focused on how much money can I make? It's about money. Do this, you make money. Do this, you make money. And I 100% agree. Although I don't agree we're going into a recession, I agree we have so much power around money. I also believe that we have to shift that focus, and the people who are just promoting, do this to make millions. If you want to make millions, do this, are going to be falling silent. They're going to be falling on deaf ears, because what souls are really asking for is that value. They're asking for that freedom. They're asking for that connection. They're asking for that fulfillment. And instead of the 3 main topics that, the 3 main things that people buy are money, health, and relationships. It's just a common thing. Those things are changing. And the people who are willing to risk it, even though I don't believe it's a risk, but risk it and start talking about other things, still making it relatable, still being able to have a tangible result that that person sees as tangible, are going to soar ahead in their industry. So I'd love for you guys, I don't know if you guys have seen that or experienced that or have a view on it, or if there's something else that you would like to share, but I'd love for you guys to speak on that if you can.
I'm so happy you brought that up about the recession. It's really funny. I just recently went to Kelowna with my now fiance. We just got engaged last week, and I was out there and meditating in the Okanagan, and the rock people visited me, and they were like, "Hey, Melissa, like you should actually tap into this. The timelines are changing in terms of this recession." I haven't integrated this at all, so it's nice to see that reflected back, and I will do some tracking on that. For coaching, for services, for like people to people services, there's a huge bubble happening, right? Where people are being sold, and I love high ticket. I'm all for high ticket investing in yourself, but people are sold these like enormous packages that don't necessarily correlate with the value or the transformation that it's going to give you under this anticipation. It's almost like an MLM, like, oh, you need to invest this much to make that much. And sure, we're all here to, be paid a premium. However, we need to make sure it actually matches the output or the transformation or the life-changing results that they're going to get, or else everyone is going to be reselling these packages to the next person on empty, just trying to make it back. And then there's this sort of like distortion happening in coaching where we're all just out for the hunt, right? Rather than actually looking to be of service. So I definitely agree with that. I'm not sure what the nuances are in terms of what we're putting out there. But even if we look at human design and stuff, it's the science of differentiation, right? So no 2 souls are alike. And I think that the more niche you're willing to go, the more possible reward is if you're willing to trust yourself enough to not necessarily feel like you need to be the next like mainstream thing, and actually like really be specific on the people you're here to serve.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, in terms of, focusing on the money, you know, I have a little bit of a not that I don't talk about money, but a lot of the coaches that I work have a hard time receiving the money. So sometimes, my message is about look, we get to be worthy and you also get to be well paid, but
Mhm.
it's not just about the money, right? Like, what is the reason that we want to have the money, right? So that we can have more freedom, so that we can feel fulfilled and purposeful doing our work, because we still need to put food on the table, right? I mean, we still need to pay the rent. We still need to, put our kids through college, do the thing. But I think that, you're right, that people want more than just the money. I know for me, I got to a certain level in my business and I was like, oh, is this all there is? I'm like, really? I'm like, hmm. So what's really important to me, right? So I think that people are going to be resonating with the alignment of what is really important for you. How do
Mhm.
you want your business to run? What's the lifestyle that you want to have around your business as well, so that you're taking into consideration your own energetic capacity for how you want to build and grow your business, and making it fit for the way that you want it to fit, versus just going for that next level because you think you should be going for that next level because people are saying, oh, well, you need to have a 7-figure business in order to be a real success. And then it's no, you have to be an 8-figure business owner. And then, well, actually, no, it's not until you have a 9-figure. Like, I think that there are so many people that are, giving people this idea of success, and people aren't actually tapping into their own version of what does success really mean for them. And, yeah, money is a component of it, but it is also, what is the money doing that's creating the experiences and the choices and the freedom that we get to have? And how do we want that to work? What do we
Mm.
want that to look like?
Yeah,
One of
I love that you said that, because one of the things that these my clients have shared with me, and I agree with them, I 100% agree with them, is that they got the money because that's what success looked like to a lot of people, is reaching that 7 figures, reaching that 8 figures and beyond. And then when they got it, they were just like, now what? It
Mhm.
wasn't the money that they were actually after. And it's not that in the future we're not supposed to talk about money. We totally can. And we have to have a different perspective of money. We have to have like a deeper understanding of money. We have to be in this space where money doesn't hold the same power over us and we're using it as a tool and it's free. Like, I always think of, and I tell my clients to think of it this way, is that I don't walk around fearing that I'm not going to have enough oxygen. Now, there might be some people out there that do fear this, so I get it. This isn't across the board to every human being on the world, but I generally do not ever walk around thinking I'm not going to have enough oxygen. I don't even think about the oxygen that I'm breathing. I just breathe. Money should be the same way. It is freely there. It's an energy. So we absolutely want to continue to work on our alignment with money and our ability to receive it and our value and our worth. But we have to shift the way that we see success and stop basing our success on the amount of money and our fulfillment on the amount of money, and have money being the driving force, because that's what gets us to the point of 7 figures, 8 figures, and either being burnt out or frustrated with the clients that we have, or in the
Mhm.
space of, okay, now what? Because
Mhm.
money is a very human driven aspect and we need it to survive. We totally do in the world we live in, but we're here on this planet to fulfill our soul's desires and our soul's aspect. So it's going to shift into a secondary thing for many, many people. Again, not all. There are definitely people who will always just speak about money and alignment that way. Yeah.
Mhm.
I think one of the quick exercises that anyone on this call could do, I'd love to do this with my clients, because it helps your manifesting power and it helps you to get crystal clear. Okay, like what's underneath, right? So whatever your financial goal is, I always recommend saying, okay, why do I want that? Okay, why? And then why? And then go 7 layers deeper as far as you freaking can until you strike a nerve with yourself and you make yourself cry. Because really it's not about the number in your bank account. And when we're manifesting and when we're trying to visualize like an amount coming into our account, like that doesn't give us the juiciness that lights our heart on fire. It's the thing it does for our family. It's the thing it does for the world. And I remember recently having this paradigm shift of this next financial goal. When I got to the bottom of it, it was about having the resources to not only like seed the dream that I want to see for my family, but my dream incubating other people's dreams. And when I got to that, it was like waterworks happened, because I realized that that's what our ancestors and all these prophecies have predicted, these people coming and being able to seed the good dreams for once rather than use their dreaming kind of against the populations, right? So that will help you anchor in the emotions, and that will also help you to start feeling whatever that need or that desire is on a daily basis before the big bucks arrive, so that you can start priming yourself to feel that way in the now, even when you're doing the invisible work or putting in the reps, right? It allows you to tap into that immediately.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Melissa. I love it.
Yeah. I do the same actually. Not exactly that way, obviously, but when we talk about, creating goals, it's well, money wants to be told where to go. What are you actually going to do with it? Where does the money want to? So when it's there, like, what do you see yourself doing with it? How is it going to serve you? How is it going to serve others? And realizing that money is currency, it is energy, it is flow, and it's we can also take a look at where are we blocking either the flow of money to us, or maybe we're hoarding it and we're not letting it flow through to the greater good. I like to think of it from a waterfall perspective. The waterfall is on all the time. I don't know a light switch or a waterfall switch that you actually turn it off. Like, it's always on, it's flowing into the river. Let's just say it's a river, which is us, and we either stop believing that the waterfall is on, or we tend to hold on to it because we're afraid that there's not going to be enough or there's not going to be more, rather than letting it move through into the ocean, which is the greater good. And when we can be in that place of freedom, like Carrie was talking about oxygen, trusting that it is going to be there, but also being clear of it is not just a dollar amount, right? Just having a certain number isn't what is going to create impact or fulfillment, right? It is, and we see this all the time. So, what is that number? What is that dollar amount doing, not only for you, but how else is it affecting, the greater good? Maybe some people want to create a scholarship. Maybe some people want to give back to their community. I like to, do both, but also share with my family and make sure that they have different, experiences that my kids get to have. So it's definitely the why. Why? Why is it important to you? What does it allow you to do with it?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Ladies, we are running out of time. So, I'm going to answer a couple questions that are in the question box, but I want to ask if there's any last thing that you want to share with the audience that you want to make sure they know about the future of business and this new business paradigm before we wrap it up.
I recently shared a post about this, and now don't get me wrong, there's different articles that have different predictions, right? LinkedIn says one thing, World Economic Forum says another, but there is a big trend towards by 2030, right? By 2035, a big proportion or a big population is, they're going to be eliminated by AI in terms of their employment or traditional jobs, right? So if you have that nudge to follow your passion, if you have that nudge that, hey, maybe starting a side hustle is a good idea, now is the time to do that in advance, and to also resource yourself with different, streams of income, and sort of diverse yourself so that you're not disposable at any part in the game. I truly think that we're stepping into the wisdom economy. And how can you just look at what you've overcome in your personal life? What have you learned? What have you unlearned? And knowing that that information in itself is probably the most valuable product you could bring to the collective.
I love it. Yeah. How about you, Chris?
Yeah. Yeah, I just want to come back to, your idea of success. What is your idea of success? What does that feel like for you? What does that look like for you? Trusting that, and always putting whatever it is that you're hearing or learning against, is it going to help you create that version that you're looking for? Because if it's not, then you might be, again, listening to somebody else's version of success, or a way that they get to do it. And there's a lot of different ways to be successful in business. So, tapping into, the ways that light you up, the ways that bring you joy. Doesn't mean that it's always going to be easy, but, is it going to be something that is going to move you closer, to your goal? So that's what I would say.
Amazing. Okay, let me take this one question before I close
Yeah.
this up. And the question is, when we answer our soul's calling, is the money likely to flow with more ease? Often it's a fear of what a lack of money that stops dreams. What do you sense? This is a really great question, and it's kind of has two answers. So, if you were to just know what your soul's calling in and start doing it, let's say your soul's calling is to be a psychic reader. We're just going to use that as an example. It's super easy. And you start doing psychic readings. Does that mean that the money's evenly going to flow? No, because you could still have human fears and human beliefs behind what you're doing. And I see it a lot. If somebody starts doing what their purpose is because they know what it is. So they start taking action on it and they just get disappointed when the money doesn't flow. So what's going to be super important is the embodiment piece of your soul. If you are truly embodied with your soul and understand it, the money's going to flow a lot easier because your focus won't be on the money. There won't be a fear around money. If there's a fear existing, it's a human experience, not a soul's experience. So it's not just that you know your soul's calling, but that you're embodied in the soul aspect that you hold, and or you do that healing work around the limitations that you hold in any fear. Anything that comes from fear, anything that comes from lack is not a soul embodiment. And so it is, the universe is going to push you to do that healing work. And it's going to do that. It's going to push you to do that healing work in order for you to have success in your business. So one of the things, if my clients are on here, and I know a bunch of you are, and sometimes my clients will come to me and say, why do we as psychics and healers have to do the energy work? And it feels like in healing work, and it feels like nobody else does. They can just be filled with trauma and still make all this money and their business is successful. It won't be like that in the future. It will not be like that in the future. Everybody's going to have to do that deep inner healing work, get out of the science base, get out of the fear base, get out of the logic base, and truly tap into that soul's truth in order for, and then integrate that into their business in order for their business to truly be successful. That's what souls, the more we activate the soul, the more the soul is going to be looking for other souls who are truly embodied in their knowing, and that's who they're going to be hiring. So you guys, thank you so much for joining me. If you are new to me, be sure to like and subscribe. If this excited you and you want to hear more, I've had a lot of people reach out to me that wanted to talk about business. We might do another one of these. And if you want to be a panelist, please reach out. I do these live Wednesdays, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you guys for joining me on The Psychic Within. Chris, Melissa, thank you guys so much for sharing your expertise. If you guys want to connect with them, their information is down below in the show notes. Be sure to give them a like and a follow, and I will see you guys next time on The Psychic Within. Bye, guys.